All right, Alabama, Ole Miss. What is going on there in Tuscaloosa? I cannot imagine that Nick Saban's going to allow this staff to survive this season, even though for most other programs, just a couple losses isn't that big of a deal. But it is a big deal when it comes to Nick Saban and Alabama. Big game coming up against Ole Miss. Let's talk to an insider. Luke Robinson joining us here from Locked On Bama. Luke, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
So I don't think this season's been shocking. I thought Bama would take a step back this year. But I feel like when you're in the middle of it, it feels shocking because it's Alabama. So I'll ask you, how shocking has this season been with a couple losses?
Relative to my expectations in the summer has been shocking. Considering the way the season has gone to date, I don't think it's been shocking. Meaning that, look, I went to the Texas game. I saw some issues moving the ball. I saw some issues with not having a number one receiver. Then you play Arkansas, and while Arkansas may have been the turning point in the season, now that I think about it, because Bryce Young gets hurt early in the second quarter. Alabama goes out to this big lead, and then it feels like the whole identity came apart. Meanwhile, still no number one receiver has been developed or has come forth. Nobody's taken that role. There's no Judy. There's no Waddle. There's no Devontae Smith. There's no Ruggs. There's no Amari Cooper. I mean, all these big-time names. Alabama just doesn't have one. And every time Alabama's needed a receiver to step up, even Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been fantastic for the most part, and Alabama's leading receiver, really, he dropped a pass against Tennessee that probably would have won the game late in the game. And then this past week, Ja'Cory Brooks, while he was one of the coach's players of the week, he dropped a couple of key passes late in the ball game. So now that I've been in the season, I'm less shocked. I mean, I'm sort of the reverse of you. At the beginning of the season, I thought this Alabama team was as talented as we had. In my opinion, we got the best two players in the country in Bryce Young and Will Anderson. The problem is I didn't know how big the gap was between number one, number two, and then wherever the next guy is.
So follow me here. I don't know. About 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I said on this show that I thought this was going to be a big gap between Alabama championships because I didn't think Alabama was going to be able to win this year. And obviously they didn't win last year. And I'm thinking, well, if Bryce Young and the rest of the crew's going to the NFL, I know that Nick can churn and burn and get people in there. But, are we going to maybe see 2-3 year window where they're not a playoff team or a championship team?
No, I don't think that's right. I think Alabama's about to have a monster recruiting year. Whenever you lose, right, you have it's like all these stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through your anger, you have to go through the acceptance, you have to go through the sadness. Well, then you start looking for the positivity. And I think the positive side of Alabama most likely not going to play in the SEC title game this year is that's going to give Nick Saban an extra week to stew and an extra week to recruit. And there are about 5 to 7 really key recruits out there Alabama's focusing on. 2 of them right here in the state of Alabama, and Quay Russaw and James Smith. They play for the same high school. And I think Alabama's going to go all in on those guys and a guy like Keon Keeley and really try and make the biggest move they can make in recruiting and try and re-solidify their identity. And that feels like what Alabama has lost. I mean, Alabama used to scare the pants off of everybody when they came to town. And that's just not happening right now. Their last several road games, outside of the Mississippi State game last year, Alabama just hadn't looked good. And I think they're going to reestablish that as best they can. They'll probably do some work in the transfer portal is my bet to try and maybe find an alpha wide receiver or an alpha tight end or somebody like that. What this team has really been missing is a vocal leader, in my opinion. Bryce Young is the best quarterback in Alabama history. I think he's the best player in the country. I don't think it's particularly close. Without Bryce Young, Alabama already has 4 losses, if you ask me. But he's not a vocal leader. He's a leader by example. And Will Anderson, he's a leader by example. He's not a vocal leader. It'd be good to have a dude or two that Alabama's had in the past that will get in your face and say, you're not doing your job. Get off your backside and do it.
So what about the staff? I mean, people have been complaining about – so I covered Bill O'Brien for a long time in Houston when I was doing TV out there, and I know what it's like to cover him. That's a name that I've heard nothing but criticism really, even last year, right? Pete Golding, another guy, sometimes really high, sometimes really low. Do you see the staff staying intact next year?
No, not at all. I'd be shocked. Look, in the end, it's going to come down to what Saban wants to do. But I think Bill O'Brien was probably going to be away from Tuscaloosa next year, regardless. Either he was going to get another job or he was going to be asked to move on. And my guess is at this point, he's going to be asked to move on. He just has not done a great job. It feels like he has a system. He's going to use that system no matter what the players are, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening. And he's just seems to be rather stubborn. Meanwhile, Pete Golding, the statistics are pretty good for Alabama's defense. The problem is whenever Alabama's needed a stop, they hadn't been able to get one. Go back to the Tennessee game. They missed the field goal. Tennessee's got just a little bit of time to try and get in field goal range, and Alabama gives up 2 big pass plays. You go to the LSU game. Alabama needed a stop on several occasions. So Alabama finally takes the lead, and the defense just can't make it happen, even though they got Dallas Turner and Will Anderson. It's a problem. So I would be a little shocked if either of those guys are back, quite frankly.
Am I understanding this correctly? If Alabama beats Ole Miss, they basically give LSU the SEC West, considering LSU takes care of business against Arkansas. Am I understanding that correctly? And that's the world we live in right now. How strange is that?
Very, because I mean, this LSU team is not bad. I really like Jaden Daniels. Love Harold Perkins. I mean, that's a dude. He was committed to Texas A&M, if I remember right. Or they thought they was going to get.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Well, he's a dude, man. He's a dude. And they've got. I love Keyshawn Butte. I think he's great, but I don't think LSU can hang with Georgia. Not in the least. I think this is going to be a cakewalk for Georgia. Not saying Alabama wouldn't have been. Look, I'm not sure Alabama wouldn't have been a cakewalk for Georgia at this point in time. But, I think that's right. It would be weird to see LSU go there and play for a title. And if LSU were to somehow finish out undefeated and defeat Georgia, what would be even stranger? They'd be in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm. So what is the key to beating Ole Miss? Because Ole Miss is a team thinking, we're going to get ourselves into the college football playoff.
I think Ole Miss's path to the playoff is very, very rocky. Look, I think Ole Miss is going to win this weekend. I'm going to predict Ole Miss to win. I'm very nervous about how this team is going to react now that they're out of it. And that's what has me very, very worried. The line is 12, and I understand that just because of Alabama's history. But I think it's going to be a problem for Alabama this week. I just don't know how this squad will react to this. I'm hoping Bryce Young can really be a magician, but it doesn't look good if you ask me. But if Ole Miss were to win out, meaning they've beaten an Alabama team that's still in the top 10, they would have. They don't have a lot of great wins. I mean, Alabama would probably be their best. But I think it'd be hard to deny them based on the way the whole season has gone for everybody else. It'd be hard to keep them out of the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Even if they don't make it to the title game.
Luke, great stuff, man. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Let's do it again.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.